What's up, guys? This is Nolan Sports Podcast coming at you live. I have three things that I want to address today. The first thing is going to be James Harden. The second thing is going to be Damian Lillard. And the third thing is going to be Major League Baseball. So we're going to get into this thing and let's dive in right into this thing. The first player I want to talk about is James Harden. James Harden wants to be traded from the Philadelphia 76ers. What? This is a recurring theme in his career, so therefore this is not a surprise. He wants to be traded from the 76ers because Daryl Morey last offseason told James Harden that after he made the sacrifices so the team could sign PJ Tucker and get Daniel House Jr., James Harden took a pay cut. So Daryl Morey promised James Harden last offseason, after this season, which has already concluded, that he would give him his money. Now that sounds familiar with the Miami Heat. Pat Riley and Dwayne Wade, and Dwayne Wade taking all those pay cuts throughout his career to make sure that Miami had the players to surround him. So he took all those pay cuts, and then one year he wanted, post-LeBron era, Dwayne Wade wanted his money, and Pat Riley didn't want to pay him his money. So Dwayne Wade said, okay, I will take my talents and I will go back home. And therefore, in that 2015-2016 season, Dwayne Wade signed with his hometown team, the Chicago Bulls. Played one season there. You know how that went. Then he goes back to Miami, where his home is at, where he's always been in his career. So that applies to James Harden. James Harden took the pay cut so the Philadelphia 76ers could get PJ Tucker and Daniel House. Daryl Morey promises him that he's going to pay him. Well, James Harden's playoff performances have always been kind of iffy and spotty. His playoff performances don't really seem to measure up to what he does in the regular season. He puts up great numbers. This is what they criticize James Harden on. He puts up great numbers in the regular season, absolutely great numbers. The guy's phenomenal in the regular season, but when the pressure is on, he doesn't really live up to that same stature in the playoffs. So game one, Joel Embiid was out. James Harden turns into old James Harden. He just balls completely out, just shocks everybody, shocked the world. Gets him a game one win without Joel Embiid. I think Harden had 50 points. He hit a game-winning three and just shocks everybody. Fast forward from game one to game seven, James Harden was not the same player. Mind you, going into game five, Philadelphia was up 3-2 in the series. They were up 3-2 in the series. That means the Boston Celtics have to win 2 games to keep their season alive. Long story short, Boston wins the 2 games. They move on. Philadelphia 76ers are eliminated. James Harden had a great beginning of the series. Game 1, game 2, yeah, great. Game 7, when they need him the most to help out Joel Embiid, he's nowhere to be found. What did I just say? James Harden puts up great numbers in the regular season, but when it's crunch time and it's time for James Harden to perform in the playoffs, he just disappears. Game 1 and 2, as I just said, he was great. Game 7, he disappears. Mind you, he still wants his money, and he still wants Daryl Morey to pay him. But if you go back and look at his game 7, when they were losing, he was nowhere to be found. And then it seemed like he quit on the team. So when you quit on a team, you just decided, I'm just going to quit. We're getting blown out. We can't come back. I quit. That's it. You want to get paid your money. Daryl Morey's looking like, no, I'm not going to pay you your money. Look at what you did in game 7. You stunk up the place in game 7. You stunk up the place. So I'm not giving you your money. James Harden has now since called out Daryl Morey, called him a liar publicly, saying that Daryl Morey was going to pay him his money, and he hasn't paid it. Daryl Morey made that promise to him. He hasn't done it. James Harden calls him out publicly. The NBA fines James Harden $100,000 and it's being investigated. So now with this whole thing, I see both sides. I see Daryl Morey's side with not wanting to pay James Harden, but I see James Harden's side. Daryl Morey made a promise to wanting to pay this guy, and he hasn't come through. So now they're trying to trade him to the Clippers. The only problem with that is the Philadelphia 76ers want a star player in return from James Harden. Well, they're not getting a star player in return for James Harden. So therefore, they're not trading James Harden. Therefore, leaves James Harden stuck with the 76ers for right now. We don't know how long, but just for right now. So it's not a win-win situation. And with the new NBA rules coming up with the players can't rest and they can't just take games off unless they're hurt. Well, coming into the season, we know that James Harden isn't hurt. So if he doesn't show up for training camp, or if he doesn't show up to play any games, he's going to get fined, and the 76ers are going to get fined for him not playing. James Harden is considered a star. So those NBA resting rules, that all applies to James Harden. That applies to him. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and how this all plays out. I personally think that James Harden needs to stay with the Philadelphia 76ers. James Harden opted into his contract this offseason. He opted in. That means he had a player option, and he opted back in to stay with the 76ers. If he would have opted out of his contract this offseason, which is what he could have did, he would have been a free agent this offseason. So in a way, James Harden messed himself up, in my opinion, because he should have opted out instead of opting in. And then we would be talking about this problem today. But here we are. We're talking about it. Me personally, I think James Harden just needs to get it together, stay with Joel Embiid, because when you look at this Philadelphia 76ers roster, this is his best chance for him to get a championship. We know that James Harden, through his career, has been from team to team to team. He got traded from Brooklyn. He goes to Philadelphia. We know he was with Houston. We know he started out with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So this is a reoccurring thing. He's played with a lot of all-stars. He's played with Russell Westbrook. He's played with Chris Paul. He's played with Kevin Durant. He's played with Kyrie Irving. He's playing with Joel Embiid. Those are 5 MVPs. Those are 5 former MVPs that this guy has played with. 5. And he still hasn't been able to get it done. He's still never happy with where he's at. Never. At some point, you have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, bro, I need to stay with this team because this is my only place to get a championship with. If you're going to go to all these other teams, it's never going to happen for you. You're never going to get what you want. And therefore, he's never got a championship. He's never gotten what he wants. So it's up to him to say, look, I'm staying with the Philadelphia 76ers. We're going to get this thing done. I'm not going to try to force my way out of this city like I have all the other teams. That's it. I'm done. I'm staying with y'all. I'm committed to y'all. I'm coming in training camp. I'm focused. And all the offseason drama is gone. But he can't do that. He's so stuck in his ways that he can't do that. It's all about him. It's not team with James Harden. It's not team with James Harden. It's all about him. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out in the long run. I wish James Harden the best, but he needs to get himself together. The next thing I want to talk about is Damian Lillard. Totally different from James Harden. Personality-wise, totally different from James Harden. Basketball-wise, totally different from James Harden. We know Damian Lillard has been with the We know Damian Lillard has been with the Portland Trailblazers all his career. All Damian Lillard has asked the Trailblazers is to get him some help. Meaning get him some help. Like get him some more players that will surround him that he could play with. He doesn't have those players. Those players that he wants the front office to get, they don't want to go to Portland because Portland is not a team It's not an attractive place where you could just go, oh, let's go to Portland and play. Portland is not like Los Angeles, where they'd be like, yeah, let's go play the Lakers. Let's go play the Clippers. Because it's LA. It's sunny California. That's not Portland. So therefore, none of the players want to come play with Damian Lillard. People would love to come play with Damian Lillard, but it's Portland. It's Portland. It's not an attractive state where it'd be like you go on vacation. Let's go to Portland. That isn't the first thing you're gonna think about going to when you're going on vacation. You're gonna think about going to California or Miami, So those players don't want to play with Damian because of Portland. So Damian asks for a trade. He wants to get traded to one team. One team. He wants to get traded to the Miami Heat. The problem with that is Portland wants good players in return to Miami. Well, Miami has good players, but their good players are people like Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. The Heat aren't going to trade those players to Portland, obviously. So it's kind of been stuck in a way that they're trying to get Damian, but Miami doesn't have the assets in return that Portland wants. Mind you, Damian wants to go to one team. That's Miami. You had Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics trying to recruit Damian, and it didn't work. Damian told him, I want to go to one team. That one team is the Miami Heat. Personally, for me, I think Damian fits what the Heat do. He fits that Heat culture, that toughness, and that grit. Damian fits that. And I think if they were to pull this trade off and Damian was able to go to Miami with the Heat, he would definitely get his first championship. Definitely with Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. But the question is, who are they going to trade for Damian? You could throw in Duncan Robinson. You can throw in Tyler Hero. You can throw in Kyle Lowry. You can throw in Djokovic. You can throw in those guys. So it's just a question. They're trying to get a third team into the deal so that'll make it a little bit easier. As they've said, they made progress within the coming days as training camp gets closer. They made progress with trying to trade Damian. Damian's always been a loyal guy to Portland. Always. He's always been a loyal guy to Portland through thick and thin. We've seen what Damian could do in the postseason. Damian is a whole different player than James Harden is in the postseason. He is a different player. You need a game winner in the regular season or playoffs. It's like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant taking the shot at the buzzer. Damian is that guy. Hear me out. Damian is that dude. He's that dude. He's going to get you the win. Damian's always been loyal. But now it's time. Damian feels it's time for him to move on since the front office is not doing what they need to do to surround him with talent. So he feels like it's time to move on. For the first time in his career, he feels like it's time to move on. He's been absolutely nothing but loyal. The people love him. The fans love him. Everybody in the NBA loves Damian. But he's trying to do what's best for him. But he's kind of stuck because he's not a free agent. He's trying to get traded. Just because you want to get traded doesn't mean that the team has to necessarily trade you. They can trade you to whatever team they want to, and if they want to keep you, they can keep you. So he's stuck. But it's been no shade thrown on Damian. It's been no shade thrown on Damian wanting to be traded. Everybody agrees that they should trade Damian. Unlike James Harden, it's been no shade on Damian Lillard because he wants to get traded. This is the first time ever in Damian's career that he's requested to trade. James Harden's requested to trade in his career like four different times. So nobody's shading Damian. Me personally, I hope Damian gets traded to a better team because I think he deserves that at this part in his career. The only thing Damian is missing now is championship. Damian has the All-NBAs. He has the All-Star. He's come close to MVPs. But it's Portland. Portland is in rebuild mode. They're not set up to win a championship right now. The Miami Heat just got to the finals this year. Eric Spoelstra, the head coach for the Miami Heat, knows what it takes to get them there. They add Damian Lillard. They take another step. They'll be in the final. If they add Damian Lillard, they take another step. They're going to the finals this coming season. They will go to the finals. Mark my words on that. No question about it. I hope Damian gets what he wants. Damian deserves it. And I just hope the kid gets what he wants because the guy, he's a great guy. He's a great man. He's a great basketball player. He deserves to be on the team to win a championship. The next thing I want to talk about is some Major League Baseball. Man, as you know, Major League Baseball is a 162-game grind. 162. It's a grind for those 162 games. And you credit the teams that just go all out and just perform every night. You credit those teams. You really do credit those teams. We have some contenders. Those contenders would be the Baltimore Orioles, Tampa Bay Rays, the Houston Astros, the Texas Rangers, the Atlanta Braves, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Those are the contenders. I think that one team that has ran away with this thing are the Atlanta Braves. The Braves can do it all. They hit, they pitch, they play the game the right way. They're a fun ball club to watch. All those guys, they get along. The Braves only do it one way. That's their way. They come out, they compete, they fight hard. They may not always win, but they're going to fight till the end. If you win against the Atlanta Braves, you fought. Trust me. You fought if you win against the Atlanta Braves. You fought because the Braves are no easy out. 1 through 9, no easy out. Acuna, Ozzie, Austin Riley, Marcell Ozuna, Sean Murphy, Travis Darno, Michael Harris, Orlando Arcia. All those guys, no easy outs. You have 5 players on the Braves team that have hit 35 home runs plus. 5 players that have hit 35 home runs at least. No team in Major League history has ever done that. The Braves are the first team to accomplish that. With all that being said, the pressure is on the Braves to perform in the postseason. We know what the Braves have done. It was just 2 years ago in 2021 that the Braves won the World Series. Since then, Freddie Freeman has left in free agency. Dansby Swanson has left in free agency. Everybody think that the Braves are going to fall down after Dansby Swanson and Freddie Freeman leave in free agency. They think the Braves were going to fall down. The Braves are better than they were with Freddie Freeman. They are better than they were with Dansby Swanson. They replaced those guys with Orlando Arcia, who was already on the team. Freddie Freeman, free agent. He goes to the Dodgers. Everybody in the world hates that. We know what happened with that. The Braves trade for another first baseman, all-star first baseman, Matt Olson. Matt has filled his role great. Matt is everything that the Braves can ask for. Matt Olson is Freddie Freeman. He does it all too. The Braves are not missing a first baseman. Matt Olson is that guy. Matt Olson just passed Andrew Jones' franchise record in Braves history for 51 home runs. Matt Olson just passed that. Freddie Freeman never did that. Freddie is a great all-around player. That's no shade on Freddie. I'm not throwing any shade on Freddie, but he's an all-around great player. But what Matt Olson did, passing Andrew Jones' record of 51 homers, that's unheard of. That's incredible. The Braves are the most dominant team in Major League Baseball. With that being said, with postseason coming up, they are the one team that's going to have the pressure on them to perform. They have to perform. They have the expectations. They have to get it done. They have to perform. I think one team that's going to challenge the Atlanta Braves is the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers starting pitching has been hurt, or they've either been hurt, or they just haven't pitched well. So the Dodgers are depending on a lot of young guys in their starting rotation. Some of them are rookies. Some of them are veterans. But you have people like Clayton Kershaw, who's gone on forever. He's a veteran. You can't you can depend on Clayton Kershaw, but you can't depend on Clayton Kershaw. He's older now. He's injury prone now. He wasn't the Cy Young Award winner that he once was. He wasn't the dominant pitcher that he once was. So you can't just depend on him. You have the rookies starting pitchers, the young starting pitchers. That's a lot to ask for them. That's a lot to ask of them to perform in the postseason when they've never done it before. That's a lot to ask of them. So the offense started with Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, Max Muncy, Chris Taylor, Jason Hayward, J.D. Martinez, Austin Barnes. Those guys on offense, they're going to have to perform. Make no question about it. That offense is capable. That offense is like the Braves offense. But except for the Braves have a 1 through 9 lineup. The Los Angeles Dodgers don't have 1 through 9. In the back end of their lineup, it's a weakness in their lineup. So those guys can still get it done. But if that's one team that's going to challenge the Braves, in my opinion, I think it's going to be the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're definitely going to challenge the Atlanta Braves. Definitely. One other team in Major League Baseball that I want to talk about is the Baltimore Orioles. If you watch the Orioles are a fun team. They are a young team. They are a hungry team. They just clinched the playoffs yesterday, actually. They clinched yesterday. That was the first time since 2016 that the Baltimore Orioles clinched the playoffs. They're a fun young team. Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson. They're starting pitching. Man, those guys are a force to be reckoned with. Even though the Baltimore Orioles clinched the playoffs, you still have the Tampa Bay Rays, who are in the same division in the American League East, who are hot on their tails. The Tampa Bay Rays are 2 games back of the Baltimore Orioles. So the Orioles still have work to do. They still need to win their division. Even though they clinched the playoff berth, you still have to win your division. They have work to do. But man, those Baltimore Orioles, my God, those guys are fun to watch. Very fun to watch. I hope that they can make a deep postseason run. They deserve to. The only thing about it is, when you have a young team that hasn't made the postseason before, and they clinch a spot in the postseason, I'm telling you, the playoffs, in any sport it is, I don't care if it's basketball, football, baseball, soccer, tennis, I don't care what any sport it is. That regular season is something else. But when you reach that postseason, it's a whole new ball game. Records are clean, 0-0. You start over. Postseason is different. So we can see if those young Baltimore Orioles, young inexperienced Baltimore Orioles, can live up to it. Thank you for letting me introduce you guys to these 3 players, James Harden, Damian Lillard, and talking about baseball. Until next time, it's Nolan Sports Broadcast.